Hey,
How's it going?
nice to see you again.
It's good to be back.
I really liked your record a lot. I really loved it. I was listening to it. I've been trying to do this more often. I was saying this to someone yesterday. I've been trying to do this more often where I don't listen to it while doing something else. I just try to actually just kind of give myself to it for a little while. I did that. And I really liked that I could hear risk on it. I could hear growth on it. I could hear that you were like unafraid to try something new after the success of a really thing that did really well. And my favorite thing about it is I could hear you trying to figure things out on it. Like I could hear you question stuff on it. It's really great.
Thank you.
Was that intentional? Were all those things I just mentioned, was that intentional in there?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm always trying to figure things out. Definitely, I wanted to like free myself from worrying about trying to replicate Freudian. I don't want to try and do the same thing again, and then because you can't. It's not possible. So I wanted to just like veer and do what I felt like doing next. And but yeah.
It's comfortable to do the same thing again. And if Daniel, that thing did so well.
Exactly, yeah.
It would have been easy. It's hard, it must be hard to go, no, I gotta do something completely different. I gotta make sort of an abstract, borderline, like sometimes pretty experimental, still pretty sick, pretty cool record, but it must have felt risky.
It was almost like I mean, we call it case study because I wanted to like be even more myself and like let you more into like my brain. And then if you don't like me after that, then that's like, it's good. It's like purging almost. Like if Freudian's for you and the rest of this stuff isn't for you and you're no longer a fan, then that's okay. And if you like me even more, that's okay too, you know?
Why does case study feel truer to who you are?
Yeah, to where I was at the time. You know, Freudian, they're all true, but the thing is like, people, if you're actually evolving, growing, and changing, you know, like the way life is supposed to go, then I can't do Freudian again. If I tried to do it again, it would fail. Like I believe that in my heart, and so.
That takes a maturity. Last time I talked to you, it was just before the Junos, and you won. You ended up winning. We didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
What does that feel like to hear your name called and to go up and accept an award like that?
It was nuts. It was yeah, it's just amazing. Like I didn't like graduate school. Like I like the whole go up on stage, accept your award thing. That was like one of the first times it ever happened to me. And it was validating. It made me feel like I wasn't like everything all these battles I chose to fight, you know, like struggles, it made it all worth it.
Especially since you were sleeping on park benches.
Yeah.
You know, not a lot of people go from sleeping on park benches to winning Juno Awards. I mean, that must have been on your mind, right?
Everything. Just everything I'd ever been through, you know? It's all like, oh, okay, it's okay now. And then it's also, it's like the positive and negative of everything. It's kind of like, it's like, why, it's an amazing honor, but it's like an object, you know? So it's like, what are you actually chasing? Like, what do you actually want, you know? Because it's not an object you want. It's like, it's the pat on the back. It's a hug. You just want a hug, you know?
It's not the physical trophy that you were looking for, but it's the acknowledgement.
The acknowledgement, yeah. The validation. And then you gotta keep looking for it, because it's not like I got the Juno, now I can go home and sleep and go back to school or something. Like
work a pizza.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going. So it's like a drug of sorts.
As someone who thinks about gratitude and someone who thinks about love, I think I saw a lot of love in that moment between you and the people who kind of helped you out in that moment as well. Like it felt like a celebration of all of you, if you know what I mean by that. Did it feel like that?
Yeah, that was, yeah, you know what? Actually, like we were saying, like in that moment, it's like doing it with my dogs, like, you know, that's the best feeling. And it's, there's like accomplishing things, which is great, but you don't want to stand on top of the mountain by yourself, you know, and you got your friends with you, and it makes it all like just feel amazing.
I was watching the interview with, I watched a couple of Instagram videos of when Obama was interviewed in Toronto. And I know Jessie Reyes, who's a buddy of yours, she played. And then he was talking about you on stage, about how much, was it Michelle, his wife,
She played, yeah.
First Lady, likes your music and put it on her playlist. And
It's crazy.
yeah, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, to be honest, yeah, it's amazing. It's he's like the leader of the free world. Try not to get caught up or like let it like change anything. You don't want it to like influence future decisions as far as music, how you make music. Like, will they like this one? Will they like, you know? But yeah, it was a lot. I did a lap around the house. I was really excited.
You just ran around the house?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a room, but yeah, it was like, it was a lot.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
You said you don't want it to change anything. What are you worried about that might change?
Well, just like that whole experimentation thing. Like, what happens if I'm in a place where I want to write a song that might make, you know, that family like stop playing my music. You know, who knows? But like, if I'm in a certain place, I want to like use different type of language than people are used to hearing me use, or I have certain feelings that people aren't, you know, that they're just not used to hearing from me.
Like what?
Even like case study was, there was a lot of, I was upset about a lot of stuff,
Like what?
you know? Just I was getting, like music was what I've always made music. Like I used to, even like I was a child, I'd run around the house and sing to myself, you know? Like I'd do it for me because it made me feel better, you know? It's like hugging yourself. And then I want to do it. That's the only thing I want to do. I don't want to go to work every day. So I'm, you know, you make a way to sing for a living, and then it becomes the job. And then you kind of get upset that like, you can't blame anyone but yourself, but it's like, you're like mad at the world because they took singing from you. Because now it's like, I have to do a show every day regardless of how I feel. I can't just wake up like, I had a fight with my girlfriend, I'm not doing the show today. Or so, you know, just something like that. Like every day you gotta do it, and it becomes a responsibility. And it's just irony because like, I think without even realizing it, like I wanted this so much because I wanted to run from all responsibility. And then you just like, just stuff happens and the public, you know, like this whole climate, like the public gets mad at you sometimes for stuff you do or say. And it's all this stuff. And it was just like, I just wanted to be myself and sing songs. And now I'm like responsible for so many things that I didn't want to be responsible for. I don't know, but yeah, it just made me just upset. But I had to get that out of my system. And if I let exterior forces influence whether or not I was gonna get that out of my system, be it the Obamas or the public or whatever, whoever it is.
Or that you're not playing with guys from Toronto anymore. You're playing with like John Mayer and
Yeah.
like Pharrell. I mean, these are, I'd be intimidated.
Yeah.
Like that would make me change. That would make me worry that I would change what I'm singing about.
Exact. Cause yeah, like you're in LA, like you're in LA. There are so many, maybe you can't get away from that. Like you're gonna be influenced and you're gonna change. Maybe that's like, every day you're alive, you're kind of like drifting further and further from your innocence, like that child that you were. But.
Is that why, like on this record, I hear you try, everything we're talking about has no concrete answer, right?
Yeah.
Everything we're talking about in terms
yeah.
of like how you make music, who you make music for, responsibility in making music has no answer.
Yeah.
Is that why so much of this record is around science? Like the record starts with Robert Oppenheimer, right?
Yes.
Guy invented the atomic bomb, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
And you talk on this record about God, and some say that God is in the gaps, that like where science hasn't found it yet, we put God in there until science takes it over. And so much of this record, like entropy,
Yeah.
Case study is a scientific term.
Yeah.
I can't remember other ones right now. But is that why you look to science? Because there's an answer?
I never even thought about it like that, but absolutely. It's it's like numbers, science. It's like why all you don't want to be like athletes or something. There's a definitive objective, And music, all this stuff is kind of like you're never right and you're never wrong. And so it can get like, but yeah, man, science it's amazing. Because it's like a mystery and you get to like hunt and search for answers, but there are actual answers. And then I can rely on these facts and these truths and apply them in, everywhere I go. Like, I know if I throw the ball up wherever I am, it's gonna come back down.
Yeah.
And that's not always the same for anything, like these emotional endeavors that we.
For you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well.
It's not.
That was crazy.
But it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no black and white. There's no yes and no in your life. I'm not surprised that you look towards it, right?
Yeah. Well.
I didn't.
Nah, you blew my mind, bro.
I didn't mean to freak you out, man. I'm sorry.
Now, yeah, it's so comforting though. I was trying to figure out why I gave up on sports when I was like, there's a certain point in your life where you kind of figure out like what you're good at and you're gonna like try and, do that. And so I was like, I was athletic up until, like high school, and then I was like, I'm better at music. And now I'm like, I was just at the game last night.
The Raptors game?
Yeah, Raptors game. And I'm watching it and I realize like, yeah, I admire it so much because there's like, or even like a Kobe Bryant. You look at these people and it's like there's a definitive, like I gotta put the ball in the hoop.
Yeah.
If I do enough push-ups,
Yeah.
You're making music, there's no way to know. It's not like if I practice my voice every day, that I will keep succeeding, like one day people can wake up and just not like me anymore.
It almost happened.
It did. I did. If I'm myself and it's the wrong thing that people don't want to hear, yeah, they'll like kick you out and throw you to the side. And it's natural, like that's gonna happen. It's like, it can't be mad at the world for that, but also I'm going to be.
They did. It happened.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you had a hard year too. You did this I mean, I should fill people in.
Yeah, that's fine.
You did this Instagram live video. You were at a restaurant. I actually, weirdly enough, I was one of the people who watched it live.
Oh, you watched the whole thing?
Well, I was just, no, I just tuned in.
Crazy.
And then I watched the whole thing since, because I knew I was going to talk to you. But I was one of the people who was watching it. And you said stuff like, it was back in March, you said stuff like, why are we being so mean to white people, that black people were rude and disrespectful. You said that you invited people to cancel you. You said, make me broke, make me suffer for my opinion. What happened?
I was, the context, I was in the Philippines with my friends. And we're always, if you see like a Golden Child, like our crew, it's very like multiracial. Like we're from Canada, you know. We get along, and race isn't enough of a factor to. If I like you and I like what you're doing, the fact that you're a different culture for me isn't enough for me to not benefit from what you have to offer the world, and vice versa. And we're in the Philippines, and yeah, stuff was going on back home. We were just having like a lot of like breakthrough conversations, and also yeah, I was just going through a lot, and I was drinking a lot, and what actually happened was I just saw someone being beat up on, and it was like personal to me. It's like, in retrospect, maybe that wasn't the hill to die on.
You saw a friend of yours get attacked online.
Yeah,
who was white.
Yeah,
for wearing a shirt with a slur on it.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I don't even want to.
Sure. Sure. Go ahead.
You don't want to. That was like a catalyst for why I said what I said, and I believe and stand by what I said. But it wasn't like a. It's tricky, man. The world's in an interesting place. Even now, like talking to you right now, like there's so much I want to say and work through that whole scenario, but there's cameras on, and it can literally just bring me back to a place that it was like not worth it, because the world is gonna be the way that the world is, you know?
People were mad. People were really mad. People, when they heard you say things like, you know, we're not winning right now. White people are the winning team. We need to take the winning team strategy. They thought that was white supremacy. That the winning team is that's what supremacy is.
And I look at that, like going back to like the basketball thing, there's like, I just look at it like I was bringing it down to objectives, like what human history is. There's people, we all started in Africa. We, you know, however we dispersed. So there's different groups of people in different parts of the world. And the objective of human life, is to acquire resources and to expand. And so when you look around, there are different groups of people in different places that have managed to acquire more resources. The world is chaos. So we build cities, we do all these things as humans to combat chaos. A city is literally, even though it's chaotic, it's like, we're like, no, we're not gonna live in trees anymore. We're not gonna live in huts. We're gonna build houses that can potentially, if a storm comes, it's not gonna blow over. You know, like we do things to combat chaos. And I was just looking at that as, I'm not good at articulating myself.
It's okay. You're entitled to your opinion too, Daniel.
Yeah. I honestly, you know what? Yeah, I think I got like scared back into my hole. You know, like that whole, like the whole world kind of came at me.
People were
mad.
People were hurt themselves. Like people were hurt that you said that. I saw it. You had to see it too.
Exactly. No, I saw it. And that's the thing. There's nothing. Maybe I was just confused because everybody's been through this, but people say things to you to hurt you personally throughout your whole life. And I've heard much worse things said about me to me, that if I heard somebody else say that, I wouldn't get on my computer and tell them to kill themselves. That's all it is. There's nothing like, there are very few things that anybody can say just about their opinion on the world to make me tell them they should kill themselves. Even like the most and maybe that's just me and like how, you know, what I've been through or whatever. And I can't be mad that other people are mad at me. That's the way the world works. But it was, if I didn't have 1 million followers on Instagram, me getting online and saying that would not have mattered. And I think that's what I'm upset about. Because I wanted, like, you break it all down to trivial. Everyone knows Instagram doesn't matter, but it's also, we're all on Instagram. So what does that mean, you know? So
Yeah.
it wouldn't have mattered.
But it did, because you have a voice. You have a big voice.
Because I have a big voice.
When you retweet Candace Owens, like when these things happen, because you have so many followers, that matters.
Exactly.
And that's a responsibility, right?
And is it more responsible if I know that people are going to be upset about my opinions on things? Is it more responsible to not say it, or to say it and deal with the backlash?
So
what's the right thing to do?
What did you do afterwards? I know you spoke to DeRay.
Yeah, I spoke to a few people. I spoke to DeRay, spoke to... It was a blur. It was honestly like, it's kind of crazy how much it turned my world upside down. Spoke to DeRay, spoke to my parents.
What did they say?
I mean, they were just like, I don't even think they watched it. They were just kind of like, are you okay? Like, they're just trying to protect me, you know? Spoke with Joe Budden. I spoke with a lot of people. And it was like,
Budden, yeah.
it just needed to happen. Honestly, it just made me more cynical. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone's gonna be upset about everything. And I can just choosing to stand, like, I felt like I was standing up for what was right. But is it worth it? I don't know.
And was it right? Like, you know, you got to get those kind of perspectives. You got to hear from people who don't agree with you, right?
And I did. Like, I seek those people out. But maybe it could be me. Like, there is no argument that was. My only regret is how I said it, because it was very like. There was a lot of anger in how I was saying these things, you know?
You feeling different now? You feeling like just as you feel like a different person?
Yeah. Yeah, more cynical. It's more like I don't know if I'll ever be able to, with my word, articulate exactly. Because there's also like, it would require me sitting down and telling you my entire life story and all my traumas and why I have my perspective on things, and like, no one cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody has reasons for why they are the way that they are. But like, who cares, you know? Every serial killer murderer, like if I was tied to a radiator when I was a kid and now I go around killing people, like, it makes for a good Netflix special, but it's like I'm still killing people. But it's like no one can understand that, like, this is my story and this is how I deal with my, you know? So it's kind of like, what's right, what's wrong? Who's good, who's bad? Like, I don't know.
Sounds like you're still working on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm sorry people told you to kill yourself.
I'm fine, like, I'm fine. It was more, yeah, I'm fine.
I'm sorry that happened. I can't imagine what that's like.
How's
It's a trip.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks for talking to me about it.
It is like, yeah, it's good. I feel like a lot of times, like, I want to talk it out and figure it out, but it happened so long ago, you know?
Yeah. And when you have, I don't know what it's like to have like 8 million Instagram followers, because I work for the CBC.
He doesn't have 8 million.
I don't know what it's like to have my every word be taken apart. I don't know what that's like. It can't be easy. Do you feel different than the person I spoke to 2 years ago?
Yeah, very different.
How?
I feel like I feel more like cynical, but also like generally more cynical. But then in those moments of like true happiness, like my highs are higher and my lows are lower. But I've always been, I feel like, an extreme person, so it's cool. And I feel like I'm like kind of like meta, like I'm like looking down on myself, watching everything that I do and like analyzing it and criticizing it and like telling myself to keep going.
I'm looking forward to you singing, though. I haven't seen you sing in a long time. I'm looking forward to the Juno thing.
Juno's gonna be great. I'm excited.
What are you doing?
I think.
Can you
it's a
say, Jordan?
secret.
Can you say?
Is it gonna be out?
He doesn't have to. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to be a marching band, so you know. I know it's going to be something that people leave on while they make out.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you know,
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
people are going to be proposing in the Junos. You know, does that still happen? People proposing?
Not this album.
No.
This album was a lot more upset.
No, people just become atheists to this record.
Yeah, man. They're like, there's no God, no Santa Claus.
Yeah,
no...
yeah. You're just destroying children. Nice to see you.
Yeah, man. It's very good. This is, therapeutic, man.
Well, listen, whenever you want to do it. We can also do this with no cameras, too.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Cut.